walking through a ghost town. Y'all ain't playing my sounds. Don't tell me to calm down. Don't tell me to calm down. Only time I go backwards is when I wanna moonwalk. Don't test me, my mood's wrong. Don't test me, my mood's wrong. We are who we say that we are. You were lost in the stars, and it's all from the start. Never running no pace, never on the right page, but we still read that book, and we still run that race. Mississippi Racer riding out, no shortcuts, no time for that. Mississippi Racer riding out till the wheels fall off, I'm driving that. Mississippi Racer riding out, we'll stop burning, strike the match. Mississippi Racer riding out, red light, green light, red light, good night. Hey, red light, green light, red light, good night. 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 Time to chill, don't sweat it.
What's happening? What's going on? How y'all feeling today? How y'all feeling on this lovely Sunday afternoon? I really wanted to get into this. I've been looking forward to this. It took me some time to actually write down a lot of the stuff that I wanted to say and kind of get into that. So if you see me looking down, it's because I don't want to miss any steps on this journey. And yes, there will be tea spilled. Yeah, there will be, you might think differently of people after this. That's not what this is about. This is about documenting my entire journey, podcasting and getting on the air and really talking to anybody that's listened to me and answering any questions that y'all might have had when, like, how did y'all get started? Like, why did y'all leave Toxic? What happened with Toxic Radio? Why'd your time slots move multiple times? What's up with you and so? What's up with Sports Empire Network? Your journey with them. What's all this beef that we've seen behind the scenes with A, B, and C? But like I said, this is going to start from the beginning, and I'm going to give you guys a very in-depth view of how my podcast journey started and why I got into this and what happened and what led to this. So we're almost at the 3-year mark, actually almost at the 4-year mark of Wire to Wire Sports Podcast, and kind of 200 episodes, right? That's a conversation. We got to have that conversation. So we'll start with how it started, how it came together. I get this question constantly. You, Cottrell, Bill, how did that come about? Like, what happened? Like, what started that? So I'll give you guys, I'll start there. And then if you have any questions, just hop them in the chat. I promise you I'll get to them. If it's not in the timeline, I'll get to them at the time that makes the most sense, if that makes sense. But let's start how I started in the journey. So July 22nd, 2019 is a day that most of you, anybody that knows who I am, knows that it was the toughest day of my life. The day I lost my father. And for years, me and my dad would listen to radio. We listened to the Phillies. We would talk sports constantly. We would watch the Eagles together. My dad is sitting right in my living room in an urn. That's an Eagles urn. It is like literally, I'll bring it over for you guys. I'll show you. Actually, let me grab it real quick. I'm sure you. Hang on 1 second. He might as well be hanging out with me anyway. If you notice, this is a Philadelphia Eagles urn. July 22nd, 2019. I'm gonna have him hang out in the chair right next to me. But anybody knew me and my dad knew that we love sports. We talked a lot of sports. So I always wanted to be a sports broadcaster. I wanted to go to Temple to be a radio TV broadcaster. I wanted to go to Connecticut School of Broadcasting. But the cell phone industry took off so hot. I was making 6 figures so early in my life. It was really tough to turn down that money to follow my dream. And when he passed away in 2019, obviously I wasn't ready to do anything in 2019. But a full year later, things started coming together. I made a post. It was right after his first anniversary day, he passed away, about how I can get into the podcast industry. Like, I want to talk sports. Who can do A, B, and C? And the first person I'm going to tag in this chat Hopefully he hops in. If he doesn't, he doesn't. It is what it is my man Tim Cudges. Tim was the first person that just messaged me and goes, Mike Francolino is your guy. Let me tag Mike Francolino. And I'm going to tag these people as they go through. He said, Mike Francolino is your guy. Toxic Radio is the spot. You got to go to Toxic. Mike will help you out, A, B, and C. Another person that commented on that post, and it's in August of 2020, was Bill Shawcross. Bill goes, hey, I'm interested. Anytime you want to talk sports, let me know. And, up until then, me and Bill were cool. Like, we played softball together. I played on a tourney team with him for a little bit, and then I tore my ACL. But we were cool, but, like, not to the level I feel like that we're at today. Let me tag Mr. William Shawcross. He might be busy. It's a Sunday, but that's all right. I'm going to tag anybody I talk about just so most people I talk about. I might not be tagging a couple of the clowns later, but Mike, I just see Mike enter the chat. Hang on. This is your moment. So I'm talking about my journey in the podcast, and Bill commented on that status, and Tim Cudges commented and said, you got to go to Mike Francolino, Toxic Radio. And Mike, it was during the pandemic, and Mike was, basically ran a studio out of his apartment. One of the coolest things ever. We drove to New Jersey. It was about an hour away for us to go to this studio. And man, I remember how nervous we were first night, but let me get into Cottrell. I don't want to get too far off of. So I talked to Bill. Bill was interested. I walked into work, and there was this guy that worked with us. His name was Cottrell Simpson. And we were talking NBA finals, and it was the bubble, and it was right around August where the NBA had taken a break, and then they were replaying the bubble championship, the 2020 championship. It was the playoffs, and he goes, I got the Miami Heat going to the finals. And I'm like, you're out of your mind, bro. There's no way Miami Heat are going to the finals versus the Lakers. Like, I had a completely different finals. I think I had Clippers, Celtics, or something. But he had the Miami Heat versus the Lakers. And a few weeks went by, and he was right. I'm like, damn, bro, like, your sports. I love this. Good conversation. We talked about A, B, and C. And he said he used to be an on-field journalist and on-field reporter for Kent State. And knowing that he did sports for as long as he did it, I was like, man, I'm about to start a podcast. Me and this guy, Bill Shawcross, that I play softball with, we're talking about starting a podcast. And it was born there. Us three were born right there. We had a couple pre-prep show calls. And before you knew it, we were in the studio, Mike's apartment, doing our first show. And I'll never forget how confident I was going in that first show. Like, I'm waiting. I felt like the Channing Tatum in the Deadpool movie. Oh, you know how long I've been waiting for this? And I was so nervous. And the first line of the first show, I messed up. And I said LeBron won his third championship when it was his fourth. Knowing how much sports I know, I wouldn't mess that up normally, but it was literally the first line. We're like, LeBron James won his third championship. But, that's kind of where we started. That's where we were at. That condo that Mike had, and, Mike helped create our original graphic. I have nothing but nice things to say about Mike Francolino. Nothing. The guy helped us start a graphic. He built our Libsyn profile. Even when Toxic Radio was no longer a thing, he still messaged me to help me get the Libsyn account transferred into my name, how to do A, B, and C. See these lights? Mike Francolino sent me a link to buy these lights. Talk about a great guy. Mike was an incredible dude, super nice individual, too nice, right? And I'll tell you why I think that Mike's whole situation ended up shutting down, and it's because he was too nice. He loaded Toxic Radio with shows. He built from his condo to his own studio. And in that studio, he loaded it with shows. I mean, there was show after show after show. I think he had a show every day of the week. He was making his dream come true. But the problem is when you trust people and they don't pay you, like, oh, I'll get you next week. My bad. Like, oh, yeah, I'm running behind. I don't want to miss the show, but I'll definitely get you. And I think Mike got tired of dealing with that. And that's one thing I would not allow happen. Anybody that helped us out start from the ground up, helped build everything that we did, I made sure Mike was paid. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You know, Mike did a service for us in the job, and I feel like that Mike should have been paid for that. And I wish everybody else would have had that same perspective, because we still could have been at Toxic, man. Those guys, Mike, Jamie, Laura, that whole group was awesome. And I thank Tim Cudges for introducing me to those guys, because it was such a nice journey and understanding into the podcast. I'll never forget me asking Mike for constructive feedback after each podcast. I would do listen backs, sound checks, where to have the microphone at so it's not right in front of me so it sounds weird. Mike helped a ton with that, and I kind of wanted to start. I definitely needed to start there with everything that happened over at Toxic Radio. And yeah, that was great. It was awesome for us, and I give Mike all the credit in the world. But me, Bill, and Cottrell were starting our journey, and I'll tell you right now, every week we improved on something. We started new, like, different things. We had contests. We had, look, you know, I can't tell you how much money we burnt in contest, and thinking we would have more participation when we didn't, in merch. We'll talk about merch in a minute. But it was fun to really kind of get into that and take those first initial steps into podcasting. The first bad dude that I met in the podcast industry was before I did my first podcast. Now, I know a lot of you guys know A2D and Tom Arnone, and I really don't know Tom. So let me just be very clear. I don't know Tom at all. I've not had a conversation with him at all. I wasn't in the podcast when I started podcasting. Had no idea what podcasting was. We created a tagline, and like one of the things that we wanted to do was to give sports opinions without a filter, honest opinions that were, you know, without an agenda, right? Like, we listen to WIP in the Philadelphia local area, and I'm sure a lot of you guys listen to local radio to wherever you live, and you hear radio with an agenda. Howard Eskin works for the Philadelphia Eagles, so he has an agenda to put out that's for the Philadelphia Eagles. Our whole goal was to be able to be honest about it, right? All I wrote was honest opinions with no agenda, no filter, real sports talk. And I noticed I got a message or a comment on one of the people that shared our podcast when we were like starting to grow it, like, oh, another imitator trying to be us. Get your own ideas, like basically calling me a loser and saying that I need to get my own ideas, and I'm stealing his ideas. And I messaged the dude, and I'm like, yo, bro, I don't know who you are. My bad. Like, I didn't know that was your tagline. I didn't know saying honest opinions without agendas was like anyone else's tagline. I've never heard that before. But I mean, thank you, Kelsey. Appreciate the stars. Thank you very much. But I didn't know that it was someone's tagline. I think that having an honest opinion without a filter would be like a normal thing to put in a description of a podcast. But apparently not to Tom Arnone. Tom Arnone basically said that we were stealing him, and, oh, great, another guy that never heard of us. Sure, bunch of bullshit. And, you know, I tried to be friendly with him and tried to like not like be a douche about it. But even when I told him, like, hey, bro, I'll delete it and make it into something different, he still made it like he's you know, he claims he's being honest, but I don't believe him. Like, how you not heard of us? We have 50,000 followers. Bro, there's millions of people in the tri-state area. A2D's definitely done a great job and been big and grown. But like, yo, like, I never heard of y'all before until I started podcasting. Now, it's obvious I've heard of y'all now, and there's no issues there. But that was like the first weird dude I met in the industry that thought I was like stealing his style or his opinions, which I wasn't, which was hilarious. But I was the first like shitty person we met in the podcast industry. That Christmas, I think that I'm pretty sure it was that Christmas, the first Christmas we had at Toxic. It might have been the second Christmas. I don't know. It had to be the first because it was in Mike's condo. We had my man Billy Brancato raffle off an Xbox, and our whole thing was like we had paid him a certain amount for the Xbox. he had sold it to us at cost, which was awesome of him. Like, he did not like try to attempt to make money. And we needed to sell a certain amount of like tickets to be able to make that affordable. And like, I think we barely broke even on that. A lot of people think we made money on that. We didn't. Like, we barely got over, like, we covered a show with the proceeds of it. And, Justin Calb won an Xbox, which was super cool. And I appreciated Bill for helping do that for us. And as another person on our journey, the Brancato family, Billy and CJ, those two have always been awesome to me, Bill, Cottrell. They've always been in the chat. So wanted to give them a shout out on the way. That's the first Christmas we had. We went into the new year and our numbers started to take off. We started to do numbers that were like silly. So I'll tell you one of the biggest mistakes I made, and I'll be very honest and transparent here. We always wanted to beat our last week numbers. And like, I thought advertising would be smart. It's not. You want things to be generic. You want real follows and real listens. And I used to pay Facebook like $20 or $10 a week for a boost. And I'm like, oh my God, look at these numbers. Like, instead of getting like 3,000 a show or 2,000 a show, we were getting 6, 7, 8,000 a show. But our follower number really never grew from it. It was, and what we found out when we really ran the analytics of the boost was it's a lot of bot followers, and Facebook has these things where like they'll basically bot your follow base to make your views look better and take money from you to do that. Nothing against Facebook or anything like that, but I'll tell you right now, that was a lesson learned. I can honestly tell you we've went the last 2.5, 3 years without putting a dollar into advertising or promotion or marketing. What we have done is we've grown generically. You'll see the post where we ask you to click 3 buttons and invite your friends to like the podcast or share us, but no money has been put into advertising or marketing or boosting our views and our streams, which is why maybe some of the shows have less views than they did our first year, because we never, we didn't know. We thought that, hey, listen, we get big enough, somebody's going to see us. Dave Portnoy or ESPN or any of these companies will see us and we can get found. Little did we know we were nowhere near ready to be found. Like, a lot of these trips that we went on, we really needed to go on to understand the goods and bads of the industry. And as nice as a person may seem, they're not always, I don't know. They're not always, I think a lot of people have agendas. And if you're not serving their agenda, you, I don't know, man, you kind of get wrapped up in the sauce. And I'm trying to do this without being as rude as possible or mean to certain people that we ran across. But I'll tell you what, I've approached everything with an honest, humble approach of wanting to get better, wanting to grow. And we've ran across some people that have not been the best human beings on the planet. And we'll get into a lot of that, obviously. But here we are, 2 years in. Mike's got his own studio. We're doing shows weekly. We're building. We have a conversation with Parks Casino. And I'll never forget the first meeting that we had with Parks. And they were like, oh, listen, we asked them, like, what are you guys looking for out of us? What can we provide for Parks? And, you finally get the understanding and recognition that we really want your intellectual property. We want your IP, but we know you probably won't sell us that. But we kind of got into the realm of commission-based sales for them, where they wanted us to, you hear on the radio, sign up for the Parks Casino app and use promo code wire to wire, and they'll pay us a commission for each person that signs up for, the Parks Casino app. Well, we're like, okay, that sounds like something we could help you do. Can we get a live show at Parks? How are you going to help grow our audience outside of us? Like, outside putting Parks on one of our slogans, or paying us a minuscule amount of money per person that signs up. And the moment we started asking them for a little bit of like, hey, like, help us get a show inside the casino so we can grow our audience, the conversations with Parks kind of cut off. They were really only interested in us helping them get people to download their apps to online gamble. And we eventually kind of, I guess both of us mutually just decided it probably wasn't the right move for us or for them. And I kind of pulled back on a lot of the overall trying to advertise. We've had many people in our inbox like, hey, like, I give my friend Vu Lee, a lot of credit. He messaged me and he goes, hey, I want to advertise my realty business. Like, I'm a realtor, like, put me out there and I'll pay you guys. And a lot of we were looking at the analytics of where it would have hit. And although it would have been nice for us to take some money, we didn't feel comfortable taking the money. That's why we, like the advertisement was supposed to be $150. And we realized it wouldn't really put a lot of money into their show into their business. So we kind of pulled back because unless I know we're going to be helping your business, we're not in a position to take money from someone. Like, I don't want Snooki's cookies. I don't want a local company that's not going to make money off of advertising on wire to wire to give their money to help their business grow if we can't help grow their business. I feel personally responsible to like those companies that want to advertise with us to make sure they grow, to make sure they do well. Like, I feel personally, and like the reason we did so many of them for free, and if you hear a lot of our advertisements that we used to do in the show, they were next to nothing. $150 for a month, $25 a show. Some of them we would just do free for listeners, and just like we'd shout them out. If you were running a fundraiser, we would shout them out to try to get money donated, because we just really didn't want to have a bad relationship with someone that was giving us money, and we didn't feel comfortable enough in taking money for not being able to help those businesses. So I don't know, when it end all be all, we decided to go against it. So we just we stopped taking money or stopped offering that. So that's one. We're about to get into the juicy stuff. If anybody's listening, waiting for the tea, it's coming. But I can see there's a lot of comments. I appreciate Kelsey, Bill, Andre, Danny. I don't want this to become one of those weird conversations where we talk about everything, but we're going to get it out. We're going to get a lot of it out there. And any questions you guys have about any affiliations or any people that we've ever worked with, leave it in the chat. I'm ready to talk about it. But I guess we'll get in the elephant in the room. And the elephant in the room would probably be, what's up, Control? The elephant in the room would probably be our relationship with Sports Empire Network when that started. That was about 2 years in. Guy Freddie reached out to me and was like, oh, we love your show. I love what you're doing. Like, come merge with our network. We will go back and forth with overall, like, you'll help us grow. We'll help you grow. We're going to create a network of shows. And, I was fine with that, right? Like, I was okay with why would we not do that? Like, in my small brain, I would think, why would we not want to expand and have other people listen to our show? Well, you'll find out very soon why some of that is good and some of that's bad. Let's talk about the good first. Let's talk about the great people I got to meet by working with Sports Empire Network, and I get to work with him still today. Brett Gardepy. Brett's one of, such a cool dude. I flew into Philadelphia, went to WrestleMania, got to hang out with him, spend time with him. Kyle Edwards. You guys see him on sideline to sideline, cheap seats, the Prince of Production. A lot of different things. But Kyle, I remember Kyle's like brand new into the industry, and the growth he had from when he started till now is incredible. Chris and Mo, the morning show, met them through Sports Empire Network. Super proud to be able to work with them. They're great guys. After about a few months of working with Sports Empire Network, they had asked me to be part of their admin team to help grow the network. Now, I've been in management and leadership my entire life. And I wanted to help, but I'm also a very honest person, and I always give real honest feedback. And I don't necessarily believe a lot of that was welcomed, but you know, we can kind of talk about that. But we had an admin chat, and during that admin chat, we would talk about podcasters that needed more growth, podcasters that needed, to be pushed more, shows that were great, shows that were not. We need to improve A, B, or C. And yeah, let's just be frank with it. The first person that they kind of laid out there was a person that was doing Monday Night Show with us. And a lot of people would talk about, his background or different things that were going on with, him talking or the way he spoke or him not being prepared for the show. And I didn't disagree. I enjoyed the person's passion, but I didn't disagree with the conversations. And I would be honest and give unfiltered feedback about people also. And, like if we're being completely transparent about the whole thing, it's one thing to have an admin group that wants everyone to get better and to grow, but it's another thing to have an admin group that you don't know what gets said outside of the group. So when you're talking privately, trying to build people up and trying to figure out a way to have the network grow, and I'll be the first to admit, when you're openly critiquing people about what they do, the moment a person gets mad at you, everything that gets said in that group no longer remains private. And one of my biggest regrets was joining the admin group. I'm super happy that I had met all the people that had worked at Sports Empire Network. But by joining that admin group, I was asked to give unfiltered feedback about A, B, and C. And when I gave unfiltered feedback about A, B, and C, changes were made, but they were made with like a slice, right? It wasn't like with kid gloves. Hey, like we need you to develop a little bit more, and like we're going to have you work with A, B, and C. You can do an afternoon show or spot on the morning show or things like that. It was just like, yeah, you're just not good enough. You can't do it. And where did that come from? And then everyone would be like, oh, it wasn't me. It was like the Spider-Man meme. It's him, it's her. I'll just be honest with them. Yeah, I said it. I would. And I think you need improvement. And I felt like that, that honesty wasn't always, met with the best approach. A year in the Sports Empire Network, we introduced ourselves to the biggest rat you will ever run into in all of this industry. And if you guys don't know who this rat is, I have no problem calling this person out by name. You can feel free to tag him. He is an awful, terrible human being. If you're listening in the chat, you know who he is. Dylan Beeks of Notoriety Sports is the worst human being that we've met in this industry. Without a doubt. No doubt about it. Worst person I've ever come across in this industry. He's from Fort Wayne, Indiana. He has a ton, and I mean a ton, of fake profiles. He has fake profiles of different people that are made up. He has people in his community, like a barber that he knows that has no Facebook page, and he created a Facebook page. And what he does is he'll make a post, and then he'll swap to those posts and have conversations with himself, liking his post and conversing with himself to make it seem like he has more of a following than he does. And he doesn't. And he's an awful person. He is a terrible human being. So Dylan was hired to do marketing for Sports Empire Network. He was paid to do marketing for Wire to Wire Sports Podcast for 2 months, for June and July of last year. That's it, 2 months. And what he would do is he would make your numbers look good because he would share it from one of his 13 pages, and him and his wife would share it and share and share and share and share and share. And then they would like the statuses, and then they would comment, like you would see the thumbs up like 8 times, 7 times, 6 times. So your comments and your views would look like they're blowing up in Facebook, when in reality, it's him and his 7 profiles talking to himself. And he would join sport. And one of the smartest things Dylan did was he joined sports groups like the Jaguars fan page or the Eagles fan page, and he would post a photo of like Brian Dawkins in the Eagles fan page and like, thank you, Weapon X, for everything that you've done for this community and blah, blah, blah. And a post that everyone will like. If you're on the Eagles fan page, you're going to like that. It's a genius idea. It's the one thing I stole from him. So one thing I'm like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. I'll do that. That'll help growth. Bino, he stole money from a lot of people. He's a shitty person. Bino said he stole my money. Bino, we got a conversation to talk about too, because I hope you listen to the whole thing, because I'll tell you right now, the weirdness that became between me and you has a lot to do with him, but it is what it is. But we'll talk about where it all started. We'll talk about where that conversation began. We hired him for Wire to Wire beginning of June. Sports Empire Network hired him for Sports Empire Network the end of June. The numbers looked great. He shared us on a lot of pages, and the reach and the engagement was so high because he would join groups and post photos, and people would like the photos, and he'd be like, oh, look at this engagement. And then people would screenshot numbers and like, oh, this is the engagement. This is engagement. I'm like, it's not really engagement, but I get it. It's smart, but it's, and then he would get on it. Like, look at all the comments. Your last video had like 100 comments. This one has 500 comments, but 300 are you and your wife and your fake accounts talking to each other. So like after 2 months, I kind of was ready to sever ties with him. We weren't continuing our relationship. We created, and this is where it all starts. This is where it all goes to shit. We started like a first take type show on Notoriety Sports that would be a cross promotion between Sports Empire Network and the Guys Huddle. By the way, if you haven't listened to the Guys Huddle, that's a great group of people. Ryan, man, there's so many guys on that. Like, my point is, go look up the Guys Huddle, and you'll like the content that they put out if you like us. But it was me and Bino from Sports Empire Network, Ryan, and I wish I had the name written down. Love the guy too. He's such a smart kid. But I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on his name. Let me get it for you real quick, because I think he deserves that. Hang on one second. I'm gonna grab it for you. Because he definitely deserves that. He's super intelligent, and I'm just drawing a blank right now. I got a lot of stuff in front of me. I didn't write his name down. Here we go. The Guys Huddle. Bino, if you remember the name, just put it in the chat. It'll help me out. But Patrick, Ryan, there's definitely someone else I'm missing. But I can't remember it off the top of my head. I apologize. Anybody out there, I can't find it real quick. But the point was, we had a debate show, and I don't care how bad this sounds. At this point, I had been doing podcasting for almost 3 years. And a lot of these guys were like 3 months in, a month in, second show, third show, fourth show. And the first 2 shows, from all the judges scoring and the things that they were doing, and one of them was Freddie, one of them was Key, and the other one was Dylan. I'd won, and Dylan had been messaging me about like, oh my God, like we got to try to get other people on, because like, it's not, you're just clean. You just have way too more knowledgeable. You're older. We're talking about stuff in the 90s, and like, we need to have other people on. I said, why don't we have like a tournament style, like a bracket style tournament for a lot of those guys to kind of like go up against each other, pull me off the show, because I've been doing it for 3 years, have them go against each other, and then like they go against me the following week, or the winner goes against me. And he goes, oh, that's a good idea. And he went to bring Doug onto the show to host the show. And Doug's a great guy. I'll talk about Doug in a minute. But me and Doug don't see eye to eye on a couple things, because I don't like the way he handled everything in Sports Empire Network when I got thrown out of the group. But we'll talk about that. We're going to get into that real honest feedback in a minute. Hopefully Y'all can tag anybody you want to ask any questions. But we were talking back and forth about, I guess, like how to improve the show. And like I was, so the next week they made like these weird, like opinionated debate style questions that were like, oh, like, you know, like it was just very like, do you think steroids should be banned in baseball? And it ended up being me and the other guy from the guys huddle, I forget the guy's name, in the finals. And he had a great job. He does a great job arguing. He's a great debater. But like in the final question, my God, I definitely didn't lose. And that was fine. But they had like made it so he won. So it wasn't me winning every week. And like that was through messaging that I had with Dylan. He had said like, oh, like, you know, we can't just have you win every week. I said, okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's no problem. But I don't want to go on and take a fall because it does bad for my name. If I'm going on there and people that have been podcasting for 1 month and 3 months are like listed as beating me in a debate, that's not helping my brand. That's not helping Wire to Wire. And that's exactly what I said to him. I said, I don't mind if we do A, B, and C, but like, getting them on and debating with me is not like, it's like having me play one-on-one basketball versus a varsity basketball player. I'm decent, but he's better. And like, I'm still learning. Or like me having me golf versus somebody has a 10 handicap that's better than mine. Like I'm 100 golfer, they're a 90 golf. I'm not saying I'm on the PGA tour. I'm just saying that I had a little bit more experience in this realm than they did at this time. So outside of everything that was going on with that, he had, I guess, started a conversation about renewing Wire to Wire for our 3rd month with Notoriety. And I said, nah, I'm just going to keep it with Sports Empire Network. We're good. So I was cutting them off. It was near the end of our rotation with Sports Empire, with Wire to Wire. And I wasn't going to pay him anymore. Like I wasn't going to have, like I wasn't going to have him be our representative for marketing anymore. So that started a little bit of an argument. He started developing a little bit of wedge between myself and the guys huddle, saying he told the guys on the guys huddle that I said they weren't even on my league. They shouldn't even be talking sports with me. None of that shit was true. What I had said was we should start a bracket style tournament and have somebody go against the King of the Hill. If I'm the King of the Hill at that time, have somebody go against me. During that, he twisted it to say that these guys don't belong in podcasting or anything like that, which is not what I said. Now, let's rewind back to in June, when he took over with Sports Empire Network doing marketing. We had a conference call, and on that conference call, Dylan's walking around the street where he's at and like, you guys need to be doing better and you're not supporting and A, B, and C. And I think everybody remembers that conference call. And he asked for people to call out people on our podcast network that weren't doing well, that weren't like these. What's up, Key? I appreciate you in the chat because I really would love you here for this portion. So we're talking about our friend Dylan Beeks at this point. But he had asked us to call out other people. And I'll never forget the conversation. I remember it verbatim. He had said, a lot of people need more development on Sports Empire Network. I am going to take some of the top shows and move them to Notoriety. Notoriety has a following of 45,000 people. Sports Empire Network at the time only had 1,000 followers. So he said, I only want the best shows on Notoriety. Don't be putting any bullshit on my network. Those are the exact lines. And then when he asked a group of us on the call who shouldn't go on Notoriety, he's like, give me the names of the people that like shouldn't be on there and the shows that shouldn't be on there. They're still developing. And everyone threw one guy under the bus. And I'll never forget it. And that one guy, was the guy I was talking about earlier. And he didn't deserve that, right? And I was part of it, right? He definitely wasn't ready for it, but I was part of that. And I don't mention his name because I feel like that he doesn't need any more negative critique towards him. If you knew the situation, you know who he is. But, at the end of the day, everyone mentioned one name, and then Dylan kept saying, like, there's got to be more. Guys, I listened to all your shows. There's definitely more people that need development that shouldn't be on Notoriety. And he's like, I'm gonna just get off the phone. I'm gonna message y'all privately, and then we'll talk about it. And y'all just share it with me, and I won't leave our conversation. And that was a mistake that I made, right? I'll never forget that mistake, and I remember that mistake like it was yesterday. Yeah, that is your GOAT, Kevin. It's exactly who I'm talking about. But he had messaged me privately, and I could pull it up right here. And I've always kept this in because I don't know, like I felt like if you didn't believe my character, like you didn't deserve to. Like you know, like if you didn't believe me when I told you what was said or how it was said, I don't need to prove myself to you. But apparently I had to. So I'm gonna pull it up now. If he's, I think he's might be blocked. No, here he is. Got to find the conversation. Scroll back. It's probably August of last year. Scrolling back because he's blocked and it won't let me pull his name up. Or he blocked me after he tried robbing more people for money because he's a shitty person. But almost there. Bear with me. Oh yeah, I remember exactly when it was. It was August 4th. It was my mom's birthday. So I have the screenshots. His name is Dylan Austin now. This is all the screenshots of everything that we talked about, the whole conversation. But I'm going to go back to the exact comments that were made about, you know, A, B, and C. We're going to get into this. So the phone is horseshit, man. Oh, that was I have the exact date. Here's the exact date. July 19th was the date I told him I would no longer be putting $300 into his bank account for him to promote us. We paid him $300 for 2 months. That was the date when a lot of stuff changed. That's okay. We're pulling it up right now. Here we go. There's screenshots that he had with Sabino. Sabino, if you're still in the chat, he sent me screenshots that you sent. Almost there. I'm in July. It's definitely in June. So in June, we are talking about like people on the network and who should be better and who should be not. So I don't want to misquote this because I think it's really important that you get the exact lingo and the exact words. So I'm going to read it word for word. Here we go. I got it. Perfect. All right. I need to talk some God's honest truth shit. Laugh out loud. So I'm going to go to Freddie and offer him to throw me in the chat because this shit is a joke. Look at these views. Look at these comments. Zero support. Zero support from anyone within. I said, I'm on there for exposure to different markets. I try my best to help them. But if we're being honest, only 4 or 5 people on that network really share things out, really get stuff going. I try to get on shows with people and help them, but the truth is it's a mess. That was in June when we get started. He goes, nah, that's what I'm saying. It's like a mess. They're all over the effing place, and no one seems to motherfucking care. I said, some people care. Others just use it for the free StreamYard and abuse it, which I'm sure Key can 100% agree to that. I said, I'm too focused with my shit right now. Their top 4 shows, I'm on 3 of them. Kyle Edwards is legit and a great dude. Key does the most backstage with the shares and likes. Coach Dante puts out a lot of lives, but if we're being honest, he's not ready for notoriety. He's not for this, in my opinion. Yeah, that was wrong. Probably shouldn't have said that. That's my opinion. That was my opinion at the time of Coach and loved Coach, right? But at the time we were doing a morning show and it was very scattered. And I, just like people have critiques of me, I had critiques of him. Should I have shared it with Dylan? At the time, I thought I was sharing it with somebody that was marketing and it was trying to help us out. I apologize to Coach. I understand everything that happened between me and Coach is severed. I'm never going to try to be cool with that dude again. I get it. I understand. He goes, this is the guys huddle numbers, blah, 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 show tonight. And he said, nah, man, me and the guys huddle just figured it all out for our Monday show we did together. The effing legwork needs to be put in, must be set up via laptop, and then must be manually done when you're on live on one page. And then he said, who on the network can I put on notoriety? Who on the network can go on our page? That's exactly what he said, word for word. I said I would be able to put my name on all the people I do a show with. Kyle, Brett, Freddie. I wouldn't put my name on Jordan. And Coach, like I said, does a lot of lives. But if we're being honest, I don't really think he's for this at the moment, in my opinion. He said, thank you. No difference. Then he sent me his phone number. And then he said, killer show, tightening the topics, did a great job, fire emojis. None of that came out. That was in June. In July, when I stopped paying him, but I was still paying him through Sports Empire Network. I was still helping through there. His entire attitude changed towards me, which is fine. I get it. We're no longer work together. But I'm scrolling down to the argument that happened over the notoriety page and the guys huddle. Yeah, that's when all hell broke loose. You're absolutely correct. Phone is horseshit. I'm gonna try one last factor. He said, not because he said his phone wasn't working. I feel if you've put wire to wire on the back burner for Sports Empire Network, for what it's worth, I also believe wire to wire is much more valuable than Sports Empire. Sports Empire has a ton of dead weight, people who shouldn't be anywhere near the industry, a shit ton of kinks that need to be tweaked, and eventually will be put in an entire process that ones will making the decision will eventually realize how a network should be ran. Reason I say all that is because wire to wire is established. The reasons clients such as John do so well, he's talking about John Mathis, do so well is because content is steadily being pumped out. Not that the content is good, though. He's extremely inconsistent on shows and steals 99% of his content. But you get the point. The reason I bring that up is because we're not consistently pushing wire to wire. I just feel like as we're kind of in a situation right now of a lot of your focus being over at Sports Empire Network rather than over here. So my answer would be your concerns are reasonable with how we're currently operating. However, my 100% honest and professional advice is that I personally would just focus on wire to wire and ditch Sports Empire Network. That is his exact words as we were paying him to market. And this was on July 19th, 2023. I said, maybe run a couple shows on both platforms. Almost make wire to wire and Sports Empire Network collaborations. I like the way we set up cheap seats. You'll love pregame and pigskin. It's on the back burner until next Thursday. Bro, I've done everything you've told me. Reels, LinkedIn. I'm working on building it. Have a big meeting tomorrow. It doesn't seem like it is working. He goes, LinkedIn is insane. Like it's without a doubt a staple in the industry. And cheap seats, that they're all right. I'm not completely hating, but there's people on that show, which he mentions by name, I'm not a fan of at all. But at the same time, I just sat back and been like, man, instead of coffee and sports, this man should be running wire to wire in the morning. Or instead of cheap seats, it should be wire to wire after dark. Because this man could handpick the exact crew he wants and get rid of the dead weight that's over there at Sports Empire Network. Like, I'm not saying that to do that or do away with these shows. I'm just saying when you look at it like that, you've seen so much you're taking away from wire to wire. We just have a common ground and really need to figure out how to adjust it more. 75-25 in favor of wire to wire. It almost seems as if you've completely put wire to wire as second fiddle. I won't lie. When Jonathan hired me, I asked what he wanted to hire me for, and he said the sports judge. So my exact response is, so what the hell are you doing over at wire to wire? Get off that page and work on your own. I truly feel like we could make Sports Empire Network a powerhouse, but I think a lot of Freddie that doesn't have the right focus. A lot of his focus is in competition with ASAP. He feels as if numbers are what will separate them as far as people, etc. When it comes to football and fantasy, I'm always down to hop on a show. Ditch these dudes, and I'll hop on a show with you. That's his exact words. I just can't talk other sports other than football. In better terms, I can't be caught off guard or sound dumb when it comes to football. I'm cool with the other sport, but like I said, I'm on top of my game when you throw me on a football show. So at this point, he's trying to have me replace people that are paying him with him. Like, it is, you can't make this up. Speaking very poorly about all these people on the network that are paying him. But like, y'all want to believe. So here we go. August 4th. We're here. August 4th is my mom's birthday. My mom's birthday just happens to be 11 days after the 1-year anniversary of my dad dying. On July 3rd, a lot of this stuff came out. On July 4th, the screenshot came out. The screenshot heard around the world where he said, put the comment out that I said about Coach, which once again, I should not have done. I trusted him to be a guy that was in marketing and that we were paying, that I could be honest with about my honest feedback and my opinion. My opinion is not fact. It is not in stone. It is just my opinion. And I wasn't the only person that had that opinion about different people on Sports Empire Network. But my shit got screenshotted and put out there. That's fine. Let's get to August 4th, and then we can finish this bullshit with this dude. Then he's talking about stealing people's intellectual property. Like, I have a whole conversation about that, but that's not for here and there. I said, bro, I called him because he had sent a message on August 2nd that blew up the notoriety show and blew up everything that was going on. I called him. He didn't answer. He goes, bro, I just left the barbershop, sitting at the barbecue. I'm sitting at a barbecue joint in the middle of the hood trying to be great. I didn't even open that chat. I said, hit me up when you can talk. You probably shouldn't have screenshot our convo and sent it to Trey. That was Trey. It was Trey's name. My bad, Trey. That's who they were talking about. He goes, ain't never in my life screenshot anything to anybody. Don't bring that weird stuff around me. Y'all definitely got to go start a family or some shit. Y'all got too much time on your hands. I said, then your man's lying. He said, you screenshot it. I said, my guy, I don't need your life advice. I have a family. We're adults. We can talk that way. Please don't speak like you're speaking to your kids. I've done exactly what you've asked me to do as a professional, and I'm walking away from you. That was August 2nd at 7:01 p.m. August 2nd, 7:01 p.m. August 3rd, he was removed from our page. August 4th was my mom's birthday. He posted the screenshot in there. I believe it was at night, and Coach seen it in the morning. Like, it was like late at night he posted it, and then Coach seen it in the morning, or he posted it in the morning and Coach seen it in the afternoon. It sat there for a little while. I removed myself from, or I didn't remove myself from the group. I told the admin chat, if y'all need me to step away because of these screenshots and the issues that are happening in your chat due to what he posted, I will step away. Remove me from the group, that's fine. But I am dealing with my mother's birthday right now. It's her first birthday after my dad passed. Please don't bother me with anything else about this today. Freddie goes, nah, bro, you just spoke the truth. You just spoke the truth. We want you over at Sports Empire Network, bro. Don't sweat it. I'll handle it. Don't sweat it. I'm like, okay. I get off the phone. I'm at dinner with my mom. Freddie blows me up. Yo, bro, we just had an admin conversation. Gotta remove you. We all voted to have you out. I said, cool, dog. I'm with my family, my mom right now for her birthday. Remove me. It's no problem. I understand what happened. I understand how it looks. And if you got to keep everything together, then remove me. He removes me from the group. No harm, no foul. The worst thing that he could have did was bring me back. And I'm explaining to you why it was the worst thing he could have did. Because I was fine just working with wire to wire. We had started sideline to sideline because he was taking pregame in pigskin. So I made it my own coin phrase, my own show. I had a whole show, a whole cast lined up. I said, Kyle, are you doing the show with me? Kyle said, no, I'm doing this thing with Freddie. I'm like, all right, cool. So it was me, Godfrey, this dude, Tim Royden, and somebody else. We were going to do sideline to sideline. Eventually, I guess their show never panned out on Thursday night. Kyle came back and did sideline to sideline with us. Tim didn't really want to do it. We had Brett do it, which was great. I didn't want to be part of Sports Empire Network after everything that happened. Dante called me a bitch, was what it was. I would be just as mad as he was, is what it is. What annoyed me the most was after about a week or 2 weeks, I was in a group with like Chase, Chris, Freddie, and then they added Kyle to the group, which I could tell Kyle didn't want it, like was like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. It is what it is. But they're like, yeah, we want you to come back in the Sports Empire Network. I said no. I said no to this man. Yo, Kyle, if you're in this chat, Chris, if you're in this chat, Chase, if you're in this chat, I need you to comment how many times I said no to this man about going back to Sports Empire Network. No, bro, like, you know, like we want you to come back. We want you to come back. We want you to come back. Okay. What's going to happen with Coach? What's going to happen with the people in the group that were running their mouth? No, if they have a problem with it, we'll remove them. I said, bro, I don't want to be part of it. I'll handle it. I'll handle it, Freddie. I'll handle it. All right, bro. Do whatever you need to do. Eventually, they add me back to the group. Immediately after they add me back to the group, Dante left the group. And then it became like I don't know, like everyone wanted to decide they wanted to have their swan song. Like, I have to step away for better interest and for A, B, and C. And it was very obvious it was because they added me back that everyone wanted to step away and everyone wanted to step away. Fine, bro. Step away. It is what it is. But what hurt me was when I scrolled up in the chat and I seen all the people that smiled in my face or that pretended they were cool with me speaking about me. You added me back to the admin chat and you kept chat history on. Dummy. If you talk shit about me, turn chat history off. Of course I'm going to scroll up and read what was said about me. I'm not slow. They added me back. I scrolled up and read. And I'm still cool with half these people that ran their mouth about me because I understood they were upset. They were angry. It is what it is. But like, let's not pretend we're cool when we're on the same boat. We're not. You ran your mouth about me and I know about it. It is what it is. If you ran your mouth about me to somebody else and you don't think I know about it, I promise you I do. I'm the most honest person you will run into in this industry. You ask me a question in that chat, I will answer it. Verbatim, bar none. I will answer that question. You answer me a question in that chat and you're going to get an honest answer. I am the most honest person you will run into in this industry. I apologize that you run into a lot of people that have their own interest and put their own interest first. But what I want you to fully understand is I refused money from advertisers because their business would not make money off of advertising on our podcast. Everything I do is for the benefit of others. So you add me back to the group and then everybody does their like, oh, I'm going to leave because I'm going to do bigger and better things, or I'm leaving because I'm going to do this and I'm leaving because I'm going to do that. Dog, you know how awkward it felt for me to sit in a group while I was just begged to come back to the group and everyone's leaving because of me? I'm like, I don't want nothing. I want no part of this drama. I got away from the Dylan shit. I wanted to get away from the Sports Empire Network. I wanted to get away from it. I didn't want to be a part of it. But I loved Chris. I loved Mo. I loved Kyle. I loved Brett. And at the time, I felt like I owed Freddie something. I love Key. I worked with Key before, and like, let's be very real. I'm like, Key, I can get into any as real as we want to get, right? I've never had an issue with you. Never. And we can talk about what was said with the Wire Sports Empire Network merger because, and we'll be very clear about that. Like, shit gets twisted very easily. And if you want to know, you can private message me, or if you want me to speak it on here, I can speak it on here. But I've never had an issue with you, ever. You aligned yourself with somebody I wasn't aligned with. So I've always kept my distance because I knew my name came up a ton in that chat, in that Discord, if you know what I'm fucking talking about. Not you specifically, but I knew my name came up a lot. Like, people that are in that Discord used to screenshot me that shit and send it to me when I wasn't there. But they're friends. They're all family. Bullshit. All right. Done the Dylan Beak stuff. Then Dylan went on and stole a bunch of people's money. They paid him for advertising. He disappeared, deleted his Facebook page. I'll tell you right now, Dylan Beaks has a text message with me in my group, or in my text messages. You want to know how shitty of a person this dude is? I'll tell you how shitty of a person he is. This is the last text message I have from Dylan Beaks. I'm pulling it up. It's last August, so it's not easy to find. But I do want to get you the honest feedback on everything that I talked about. So we're gonna get very honest. I got to scroll back because he's blocked on almost everything. So I have to find like the exact thread. It'll be right around the third or fourth. Here it is. 765-206-2921. Wonder if he still has that phone number. No kidding. I said, bro, why is my name staying in your mouth? I professionally walked away from you like you did me, yet you're still talking. You realize all the stuff you told me in your DMs, the stuff you said about Jonathan, the stuff you said about Freddie, the stuff you said about Jordan. Why are you asking for a war you do not want? Is my exact text message there. He goes, let's discuss this in person. I said, I'd love to. I'm in Philly. When will you be here? He goes, a war I don't want. I'll be at the dog shit. I'll beat the dog shit out of your fat ass. Shoot me the address, bitch. I'll hit you up when you need to ask your boss if you can clock into your job. Go see your daddy at his grave, because that's what we do. We slime clowns like you. Stick with your 6 followers and make it big, Max Kellerman. I said, it's easy to type stuff. I don't talk through text. I will put you in the dirt like your father, is what he said. That was the last text message. I stopped responding after that because at that point, I'll make something very clear to you. It's been a year, so I doubt that anything will ever come of it. But at that point, I'm not going to put anything else in text message. I'm not going to put anything else in text message because I don't want there to be any evidence or any trail. If I ever see you of something I said, because at that point, it's no longer talking. You land in Philadelphia and I find out about it, it's on site. It's on site. And I'm not even like that. I don't walk around like a tough guy. But if I ever see you, I promise you this, it's on site. But that's the end of the Dylan Beaks saga. So let's finish the Sports Empire Network story. Love the people at Sports Empire Network, the people as a whole. Over the course of September, October, November, December, January, we were a group without any person guiding us. We were just doing shows. And I give Key all the credit in the world because she was making sure anything got fucking added to Roku and creating the streams and keeping things together. Every other month, the StreamYard wasn't paid. I was paying the StreamYard out of my pocket. Chris was sending Freddie $25 to pay the damn StreamYard, and he wasn't paying the damn StreamYard. So I was paying it out of my pocket. I would send Key $25 or $50 to get the StreamYard going, to keep it going. I'm like, I'm done with this. I'm not going to pay for another network StreamYard. I can just pay for my own. So in January, I was walking away. I made it very clear. I'm walking away. I'm going to do my own thing. I'm done with this. I guess you're saying I was sending it to you. Yes, I was. Freddie wasn't. Or I guess Chris was sending it to you. That's smart. But and then Khan over here saying Key is amazing. Key, I don't need the address. I'm not flying to dog fuck Indiana. Appreciate you, Sean. But I just decided to stop paying for somebody else's StreamYard. I could pay for my own StreamYard, and I'll give a platform for anybody that wants to be on it, that wants to be professional. And I told Freddie, I wanted to be honest with him. I'm like, dude, listen, I'm leaving. I'm taking Sideline to Sideline with me because it's my show. I'll cross promote Cheap Seats because it's your name, but I'll still do it. And I'll try to cross promote as much as I can for Sports Empire Network when you get big. If you can get back to working. But I'm done. I'm finished with it. So I told Freddie all that, and Freddie, oh yeah, it's cool, bro. I kind of figured that was gonna happen. It's cool. Okay, it's cool. I'm just letting you know. I just wanted to be upfront with you. Through that, and I'm not going to put anybody's personal business on Front Street, but through that, a couple other people that work with the network were like, yo, like, do you mind if we come? Conversations were had, shows were moved, was what it was. Wasn't done with any malice. Freddie wasn't maintaining Sports Empire Network. And he would just come in every once a month and troll people and piss people off and start arguments with people. And he would kind of be into that, like he was trolling it. It was almost like he wanted to delete the page and he needed a reason to do it. So I was like, I'm tired of being a part of the drama. I'm tired of seeing the arguments in the chat. I'm done. So I bounced. A couple other people bounced with me. I tried to maintain a professional relationship with Freddie. I told him I would still do like Straight Facts, which was a Freddie Facts, and Wire to Wire podcast that we created that we're going to start doing. And I don't know, just like I wanted to be done with it. So then Freddie went on this whole tour of, like, well, I'm going to try to maintain it and blah, 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 and ABB. He kept trying to like do side stuff and message people behind my back with like thinking I wouldn't hear about it or know about it. Like, it is what it is, bro. I want nothing to do with it. I opened the door to Wire. I gave a StreamYard. I don't charge anybody any money to use the StreamYard or the Restream. I pay for it all out of my pocket because I don't want to answer questions to anyone. Y'all want to use the StreamYard? Go ahead, run a professional show. Make sure it's on time. The morning show has done an incredible job. N1 has done an incredible job. Sideline to Sideline is what I do. Coast to Coast has done an incredible job. These guys do a show every week and on time, and they're professional. That's all I ask. You want to use the StreamYard and you have a podcast and you want to work with our network? That's fine. I could work with you guys. If you're professional, you can use the StreamYard for nothing. Just be on time, be professional, and that's it. That's it. That's all I ask. That's all we've ever asked. Try to promote the other shows on the network. Let's all try to work together. When that happened, I guess, I don't know, Freddie got in his feelings. So he removed me on Facebook as a friend, which for whatever reason, he just tried to add me back two weeks ago. He'll sit in my inbox until an apology comes because I'm not adding him back for any reason. But he owes me an apology. And he doesn't just owe me an apology. He owes a bunch of people an apology. Because the things he did were slimy. And for a man of God, for a guy that goes to church every Sunday, bro, you could be a better human being, dude. You could be a better human being. And like, I don't really hate the guy. I have nothing against him. But like, you kind of lied to my face twice. I'm not with it. I'm done. Don't want to be part of the drama. So in February, we started Wire to Wire Network. And since February, it's been professional. Like, now, are we promoting the way I'd like to promote? Are we growing the way I'd like to grow? Probably not. We've grown 1,500 or 2,000 followers in the last 4 or 5 months, which is great. We're 4,300. We're at 2,400 when we started in February, or 2,300. I think we had a 2,000 since February. But like, it gets busy. Summertime gets busy. People go on vacations, is what it is. But we'll get back to it come football season. We'll get rolling coast to coast and just start it back up. And we're going to get rolling there. And I think that we're going to continue to grow. But it's been a very hectic ride. And the 3 things I can promise you that you need to understand fully is, number 1, if you want to do a show, create it yourself. Be able to do it all yourself. Be able to run it yourself. Have your own microphone, your own setup, and have an agenda. Be prepared for the show. And anytime someone in the industry wants to help you for nothing, understand that's normally going to come with something. My dad used to have this saying, and it was really funny. And he said, rule number 1, people are selfish. Rule number 2, never forget rule number 1. I'm not saying everyone I met in this industry is selfish, because there's a damn lot of good people I met. But, when the bus gets rolling and someone needs to get thrown in front of it, I promise you, people will throw you right in front of the bus to save themselves. Do things on your own. Run. I remember, and this is one thing I kind of skipped over because I have no beef, no animosity with anyone at East Coast Gridiron or Dante. Nothing but love for the guy. I can't say nothing but love, but we're not on bad terms. But I remember when we were at Toxic Radio, Dante told me, he's like, bro, I can be doing this for you for nothing. I will run your page just to help you out and create graphics for you. I'm like, man, that was so cool. Thank you very much. So when Toxic Radio was shutting down because a bunch of people weren't paying Mike, I said, Dante, I'm gonna call in that favor, man. Can we work together? Sure, that's great. That's awesome. I said, but I'm a man. I'm an adult. I want to pay you for your time. He goes, nah, bro, I don't want it. I just want to do it to help. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I appreciate that. But I'm still going to send you something. I'm still going to send you something, whatever it may be. I'm going, nah, it's fine. It's fine. He says, just pay me what you think I'm worth, whatever you want, whenever you want. We ran a show on East Coast Gridiron for 6 weeks. That's it. 6 weeks. I sent a $300 helmet to his house, signed by John Lynch. The last 3 or 4 weeks, he had power issues at his house, and Cottrell was running the show. And then his time ran out. He didn't really have the time to do it anymore. The way that severed, I never felt great about it because, he helped us out for 6 weeks. I appreciate that. I'm never going to speak badly about someone that helped us out for nothing. But until we started running it on our own, and until Cottrell started helping with the 1s and 2s, and still I learned about how to run a show on my own and build the StreamYard and get the graphics on there and upload it to Libsyn and Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Until that stuff started happening, we really didn't prosper. We grew when we started learning how to do everything on our own. Don't rely on someone to run your StreamYard. Don't rely on someone to learn your production. Learn your own production. Learn your own StreamYard or Restream or whatever, and run it yourself. If you rely on someone else to do it, they can always hold something over you. Here we are. It's now, an hour and 15 minutes in. I see there's still 26 people live listening, and I appreciate you. I would love for anyone to ask me any questions in the chat, something that they might not know the answer to, something that they want more clarification to, anything honest that you want to know. about Wire to Wire Network, about being on a podcast, about running a podcast, about people in the industry, anything you want to know, the chat's open. I do want to take some time to shout out people in the chat while I'm doing that. And whatever questions you guys post, I'll read them on air and we'll have some fun. Con, love you, Con. That you are gifted in network. You're one of the most knowledgeable people I know about every damn thing. I learned from you, but I'm from the hood. That shit was not called for. I appreciate you, Con. I see my man Cool in the chat. He said facts, laughed. He still has the Empire page. Good for you. You did a lot of work for that page. My man Anthony Biondo, by the way, I'll tell you something right now about this dude. This is one of the best human beings on the planet. I hope he's still in the chat. He is such a good person. Always offers like critique to help. Always looking for a way to share out. Man, if you don't know who Anthony Biondo is, he's definitely a friend that you can find. He is one of the best human beings you'll ever find in any industry. Like, click on his page, check out Biondo Creative, check out anything this guy does. He's one of the most intelligent people, and he's a great human being. So he said professional insults aren't professional. I agree with you. I probably shouldn't have thrown a couple either. My man Justin Louder. Yeah, Dogfuck, Indiana. That's where he lives. Personal insults get nothing. My man Sean's always on deck. Appreciate you, brother. He says, you know what that means? It's time to hurt that punk. Bro, trust me, Con. If I ever run into that dude, I will hurt that dude. Kyle Edwards, he was a paper tough guy. Yeah, it looked like my man Chase said it best. Dollar store joker. He says, very true, answered everything. In the words of Donovan McNabb, keep my name out your mouth. My man Danny was dead. Key tried warning Freddie. Anthony said, usually when someone working with you, they sign a non-disclosure agreement saying they aren't sharing stuff like that. Yeah, I learned that the hard way. He flipped your words around. That wasn't cool. Of course he did. Of course he did, Key. All right. What do you think is a great way for new podcasters to network? So the best way is to join sports groups. Join like groups that have the sport that you're talking about. Right? So like if I'm doing a football podcast, I'm joining a bunch of football groups. If I'm joining a basketball podcast, I'm joining a bunch of basketball groups. Joining groups, tagging followers, so your friends and family and followers, people that followed your page, get a notification when you go live. And then anybody, bro, merch. I cannot tell you why I wear this all the time. People think I don't have any other clothes. People don't think I have any other clothes. But when I go somewhere, I go to the gym, I play basketball. What's Wire to Wire Network? It's my podcast. I'll tell you right now, merch, wearing stuff like that. And then last but not least, and Con, you know, it's funny. Con, you wrote great advice. I swear to you, I looked at your page, I looked at your comment, and this came to my mind immediately. Be knowledgeable on the sport that you're covering. Don't just look at stats. Watch and actually be a student of what you're watching. Don't think you're a know-it-all, and never, ever, ever think you're the smartest guy in the room. But the network, join sports groups, tag followers, share to your page, and merch. Wear merch. Walk around in merch. I miss Chase too, bro. Chase is awesome. Love you, Danny. My man, Danny Dempsey. Dempsey family's been super helpful. He said, what's the future look like? Let me tell you what the future looks like. We are going to have one of the most successful football seasons you will ever see. I promise you that. We are going to be getting guests on the show from collegiate football players, ex-professional football players. We are going to build our network from within, and we are going to promote. And I'll tell you right now, one of the things I've always wanted to hire was a professional marketer that can market our page. I think at this time, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think at this time, I'm at the stage of my podcast and career and journey that I need to be put in front of the right people. Here's the thing that a lot of people don't get. You can be super intelligent talking sports, but if you have the right connections and don't meet the right people, it's very tough to get your eyes in front of the right people. So networking events, going to events like the Eagles Browns with Cottrell and Shally and being able to promote down there, being able to be around the right people is huge. I'm not too proud to ask, if you know anyone that can help build our brand, anybody that's a professional or professional sports realm that would love to be on a show, that would talk, that would help share to their network, and that would mutually help both of us, oh man, I'll take it. And it reminds me, Danny, you reminded me of one of the coolest things ever. We had a guy, I'm trying to get his name. I'm going to get his name for you. I'm going to call him right out. Darren Smith, that's his name. Darren Smith on ESPN Kansas City. Darren Smith on ESPN Kansas City. Freddie was somebody. He's like, I'm getting him to come on the show for Sideline to Sideline. We're doing pregame in the Super Bowl. He's a reporter from ESPN. So we spent a week and a half prepping for this dude to be on the show. Sent him all the information for the show. I'm not kidding when I tell you this. 5 minutes before the show started, he wasn't responsive. After like a day or two before, I guess like 25 minutes before the show started, he goes, "Yo, have me on the first segment because I'm actually out in Arizona covering the Super Bowl." I'm like, bro, it's not like that. It's not segments. We're having like a pregame party. If you can't be on the show, that's fine. But like, we're not doing segments. We're doing like a pregame, talking about the game. But like, I'd gladly have you on for 10, 15 minutes if that's all you can afford. But you know, it is what it is. Like I've told you about this show for a week and a half. Did you just know you were going to be out there in Arizona covering the Super Bowl 25 minutes prior to the show? So he doesn't respond. 3 minutes before the show starts, we start at 7:00 Eastern Standard Time. He goes, "Is it 7 Eastern or 7 Central?" I said, "We're starting in 3 minutes." And the link's in the chat. If you want to join, you can join. He joins in the link, like on the link for the podcast, in the back of a Uber, or I don't know if it was a limo or what it was, on his way to Radio Row at the Super Bowl. And oh man, this dude joins in and he's picking his nails in the back. Like his camera's like across the on the floor of the cab or the limo or whatever he was in. I said, you know, I remember the exact line I said to him. I said, "Well, you being a reporter from ESPN Kansas City, I'm assuming your rooting interest is for the Chiefs." He goes, "I root for whoever pays me." What? He's like, "Whatever pays the bills, that's all I root for." I'm like, all right, bro. Drops out in the middle of the podcast, 15, 20 minutes in, picking his nails in the back, disinterested, talking over people, throwing his credibility in our face, like, "Oh, I'm out here actually covering the Super Bowl, not doing a podcast." I'm like, oh wow. I don't ever want someone to big time me. Remember where you were at, because I promise you this: when I get to where I want to go, there'll never be a time where I big time somebody on their show, especially something I agreed to go on, and that people spent a week prepping to go over. Kyle remembers. He goes, "I remember that guy was trash." I don't know who Titans Rossi is, but comment. "I truly believe you have a gift. Keep doing the damn thing. I'm blessed to have Key, Jake, and Cool, but I still have to do work. It's hard, as you know. I know this because I know you do this because you love it. You don't need it. I'm very lucky." It's too easy to be a good human on your way up in your career. I agree. I'll connect y'all both. Appreciate you, Danny. Anybody have any more questions before we wrap up? I felt like I went through the entire journey from start to finish. There's so many people to thank. I'm not doing that on the show. This was my journey through my eyes. Please don't look at Cottrell or Bill or anybody else on Wire to Wire Network and say something Gene said I didn't like, so I have an issue with you. This is all my opinions, my feelings, my I guess my experience in the industry. And through my experience in the industry, I'll tell you right now, man, I have two TVs in my living room. I watch so much sports, it's silly. I'm actually annoyed I'm missing some of the Phillies game right now. I wonder what the score is. 2-2. So I'm missing a good game. I obviously go check that out as soon as I'm done. Turner with a home run. He's been hot. They sat him down one day, and ever since then, I don't think he's gotten out. My man, Tom, I admire your passion for your brand. Your knowledge of sports is awesome. And you're a damn good umpire. I enjoy talking to you. Tom, I enjoy talking to you too, brother. You're great. Maybe I missed it, but hit on what might come for the future. I appreciate you, Cottrell. So what comes in the future is very simple, right? And I think, Cottrell, we've had a lot of these conversations, but getting guests on and growing and being able, and like one of the things I said I wanted to do is to hire a marketer to help market our network and help market our shows to be able to get us out there in a different light, having guests on that have a lot of followers, other reporters, doing cross promoting with different different people that are in the industry. We're so lucky to have Kelsey Nicole Nelson on the show before. We had Ring Girl of the Year. I remember we had her on for not Kelsey Nicole, but I forget her name, from Houston. But she covered the Spurs. Having more people on the show and growing the show with having a real marketer and real promotion. We are now officially 1099. We have an LLC. We're an official company, and merch, My man Anthony, get that merch out there to people will wear it. Keep those TikTok and IG Reel videos, short teasers. Hit me up if you want any tips. I went trending with a short video recently. Get those guests to help spread the word geographically. Mobilize your friends, family, and friends and groups. Anthony, you couldn't be a better person. I appreciate you, brother. Carolina Teague, that's right. Ring Magazine, Woman of the Year. Carolina Teague. Carolina was great. She was a Bears fan. I remember having a conversation with her. She was a Bears fan. She was good. She sat through a whole show with us. Talked great sports. Had a great attitude. If not following her, check out Carolina Teague. She's great. Kelsey Nicole Nelson was on our show before. Not following her, check out Kelsey Nicole Nelson. We had a wide receiver that plays in the European Football League, Salad Smith, that we interviewed. Unfortunately, he had not had the greatest service. He was going through a hurricane at the time, but you can check that interview out on Wire to Wire Network. We had a lot of different stuff that happened, and I think that the growth is in a million different things that we can do. Short reels, TikToks, guest promotions, and I think the next step for us is to get a true marketer and not a person like Dylan Beeks, not that trash, but being able to build the network in the right way with the right people. And I'm super, super comfortable with the people that we work with now. All grade A human beings, from iBlack Elmore, obviously to Cottrell and Bill, to Chris, to Brett, to Mo, to Godfrey, my man Godfrey, to the UFC guys that do the show, Ron and Dylan. Tiny says your passion for Wire to Wire is unbelievable. Stay focused, and the sky's the limit. I appreciate you, Tiny. Appreciate you. Any other questions before we wrap up? I think 90 minutes is enough talking to myself. I would have invited a link to someone, but I really kind of want to keep this. I want to look at this in 5 years and be like, yo, that guy lost 50 pounds and he's on TV now. So I'm in the process of losing weight still. I've done a great job so far. You can see my eyes. My cheeks aren't covering them as much. That's how you know I'm losing weight, like when you can see my eyes. I'm kidding, y'all. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Appreciate y'all being a part of my journey. Appreciate all the listeners, everybody that offers great feedback. Love y'all. Seriously do. I'm the NFL Genius, and this was Real Talk, talking about the industry, and we are